Okay, we should be live now. There we go. Make sure I'm alive. Been off the air for 2 weeks now. Yes, I am. Hey, Vega Power, how you doing, buddy? You're the first. First come in. Cool dude. Okay. Hello, James. Coming in, set a spell. We're going to be disassembling my new to me, but very old M1917 rifle by Remington. It's one of the few made by Remington, not by Eddie Stone. We're going to go ahead and take it apart. I bought this thing. I've not shot it yet. I bought this from a dude, like a friend of a friend type thing. And it went back to, I think I bought it over the summer. Yeah. Yeah, it was around July, August, somewhere around that nature. Somewhere around then, late summer, I bought this. And I looked it over. The guy had a decent price on it. It wasn't a steal, but it was a good price. Looked down the barrel. The barrel looked pretty rough, and I went ahead and paid him for it, and put it back in my closet, and hadn't touched it, not even looked at it until today. So I will go ahead and be taking this apart, taking a look at it, seeing all the tragedy that's going inside. Which I remember the barrel was pretty rough, so hopefully I can get show you a good look on that, because it was kind of rough if I remember correctly. But we'll go ahead and take it apart here. Make sure that I can you guys hear me okay? Make sure that everything's set up the way I like it. A live Deuce disassembly. I don't have that kind of time on my hands. That would be quite an effort. Alrighty, now. Good on sound. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Oh, tons of copper fouling. I'm sure there is. I am sure there is. It looked kind of like a sewer pipe inside. So, well, there we go. That happened. Okay. Let's see. Let's go ahead and take out the bolt. First of all, let's do a run through with you guys of what the basics of this rifle are. These were commissioned by England for World War I, and they made them in 303, and they held 6 rounds of 303. And then when the U.S. entered the war, we didn't have enough 303s, the Springfield 303 or 1903s. We don't have enough of those, so the 1903 Springfield was in high demand, and we had this already on tap, ready to go. So we rechambered the barrels to 30-06, because that's what we were using at the time. It holds 6 13-06. I'm sorry, I said 6 303. No, it holds 5 British 303 rounds and 6 30-06 rounds. Kind of cool. One extra round there. And it's a normal bolt action. Here's your safety right there. So it's kind of, what's funny is when you're holding it, the knuckle on your thumb sits right there. You know, it's right against all this metal part right here, and it can hurt you. I've not shot this one. I have shot someone else's though, and you can really feel that against your knuckle if you don't hold it just right. So it's got the ladder type sights. It's got the battle sight down, and then the ladder type sights up, which is pretty cool. You know, that goes way out there, way longer than you'd ever really be able to shoot accurately without a scope, or at least me. I mean, I'm sure some other people are very, very inclined to do that, but I am not. Let's see. It does not have a place for a cleaning rod. You know, a lot of these old rifles had a cleaning rod hole right here. This does not. It has the butt style cleaning rod, and all the cleaning accoutrements goes in the back right there. Yes, sir, Vega. I'm still a little bit coughing, so if I have to pause the cough, I do apologize right off the bat. Yeah, I was feeling like warmed over cat crap last week. And it is, okay, here's something that is interesting that I always thought was cool about these rifles, is that it is cock on closing, not on opening. If you open up, if you rack the action of almost every firearm, almost all the bolt action rifles we have, you cock the action when you're pulling up on the actual rod here. You cycle it, and there you go. And you've already cocked the firing pin. Well, on this, and it has an actual what is that? The feed thing here that stops the bolt. But you push that down, and it cocks right here. So right now, there's nothing. The firing pin spring is completely loose right now until this final, ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch there, and that's when you cock the action. You can see the back of the firing pin, or not firing pin, but the action there. And we're going to dry fire it here. There you go. So let's go ahead and take this bolt out. We're going to disassemble that first. And to take that out, you got a lever right here, very much like a Mauser style action. And I'm trying to think, it's been a long time since I've taken apart a 1903, but I think the 1903 has a very similar disassembly as well. So we're going to take a look at that bolt first. That is a funky looking bolt. Very, very odd. Okay. $18.91 Argentine. Wow, I've never shot one of those, James. I will say that right now. Okay, now if I remember correctly, this unscrews back here, and all this is unscrew. So let's go ahead and let's see if I remember how to do this. Let's see if I remember how to do this now. Yeah, there we go. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. I'm just basically, just using grunt force to unscrew it. And it unscrews. Ooh. That's going to need some TLC. If you can see that, if I can get it to focus. I never can remember if I can get my camera to focus very well or not. It does not want to focus for me. But there's quite a bit of rust on that firing pin. That's not pretty. I don't know how this guy stored this rifle. He got it from his grandfather. His grandfather gave it to him when he was a kid. Why you'd give a 30-06, 11-pound rifle, I don't know, it's 10 or 11 pounds to a kid, I don't know, but he did. And he needed some tires on his truck, and tires for his truck was more important to him than his rifle. So I was more than happy to take it off his hands. So we'll go ahead and we'll take that down later. Let's see here. Oh, James, you're from Texas. Cool. The other UT. I went to UT in Tennessee. We both wear orange too. Okay, now I know that the extractor, there we go, that just slides right off. And that's about as far down. I mean, you can pry this off if you want this little collar here that the extractor and everything rides on, but that's not necessary. And everything else is just hollow, just a hollow tube with the bolt attached to it. And now I got this rusty mess. Okay. The 3040 Craig. David, I do not know. I do not know at the top of my head if that's a cock on close or open. Probably, some of those oddball things a lot of them did cock on closing, like the 303 Enfield. Lee Enfield there. Let's see if I remember how to do this now. I think, yeah, there we go. There we go. So you push down. This whole thing is all one piece except for the collar back here. And you press that down against this firing pin spring. And I think you rotate. Is that it? Yeah, you rotate halfway. There we go. And she's done. That is all the bolt right there. And you've been kind of out of frame. There we go. That should be a little better for you guys. So that is all the bolt stuff right there. Cool. Now let's get to work. I have a bunch of, now I bought this. Has anyone else used this before? I've never used this. Some dude at the gun store that I usually go to said this was great for cleaning out really, really bad barrels. No idea, but hey, well, we'll find out today because this is a bad barrel, so we'll see if it works or not. A good pre-1899 rifle. Well, let's see. Brady, let me see. I think I have one over here, actually, in my gun closet. Oh, pre-1899. I've got an 1899. Oh, let's see. Oh, I've got this. There we go. This is an Italian Carcano. Got this right here, and it is an 1899. You can see it right there. That's backwards or upside down, but 1899, which is an interesting firearm. I need to clean that one too. I bought it from the same guy who bought this for him. Might leave that out. We might talk about that here in a second. Well, let's see. A really good one would be one of the Swiss rifles. The Swiss rifle has a really good. That's an excellent firearm. Now, the antique versions of that, though, the Swiss straight pull, what is it? I can't remember what it's called now. I've got one. But it takes an oddball cartridge that you pretty much have to load and make your own, make on your own. Other than that, you're looking at like 4570 type stuff. And yeah, the Craig 3040, that's a pre 1899, I believe. I can't remember exactly. The price on the Swiss rifles, they come and go. Let's see. Every now and again, Classic Firearms has them, and they're usually in the $300 to $400 range. But again, you've got to trim down the brass of a normal 7.5 by 55 round, and then reload it to 3040 Craig power levels. Then it works pretty well. Works pretty well. Okay, I'm going to just use some good old powder blaster gun clean here from Winchester. And we're going to let that soak a little bit. Actually, let's go ahead and we're just going to spray everything down here. And where is my, I've got some, so this, I made this a long time ago. This was a gun cleaning kit that I kind of put together over the years. And it's just got a bunch of stuff that I've put, here we go. This stuff is excellent for cleaning your rust and whatnot off. I've got some steel wool as well I'll be using. I came prepared for a rusty situation here. Let's see. Now, ideally, I should probably put this in some sort of vinegar bath to dissolve the rust, and I will probably still do that just to get every little bit off. So I'd really not want to put this in storage and let it continue to rust, because sometimes that rust will start to propagate even if it's in ideal conditions. That's definitely a lot smoother. That's gotten a lot of that off there. That's a good, that's really doing it right there. Yeah, it's not bad. I've got some spots in there still, so get a little bit of. Oh, Vega, you got the M39? Yeah, I got one of those too. Holy crap, they're accurate, aren't they? Man, they're so accurate. They're the pinnacle of the Mosin Nagant, definitely. They knew what they were doing. These little grooves there that are really filled up with rust. If I can get some of that loose. This won't be 100% done when we're done today at this live stream, but it'll be a good start. Be a good start. Yeah, Brady, I looked at getting one of those Martini Henry stuff, and if you didn't want to, I mean, you could take a gamble and get one really cheap from that company that he was talking about. And if you didn't want to take a gamble, like a $200 gamble, then the next step up was like 400 or 500 bucks, if I remember correctly. And I wasn't ready to take that plunge for something that I wasn't too in love with. I don't know, they were cool, but I don't know. I had at the same time he was doing this, I was looking at this rifle, so I went ahead and went with the 30-06 cartridge that I can buy anywhere. That's another thing, is that they did some testing on this back in the day, and this action was much more robust than the 1903 Springfield action. So it can take a much strong. It can take modern ammo, basically, is what I'm saying. Is that it can take modern ammo just from, you know, go down to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy 30-06 and throw in there. Whereas you can't. I mean, you can probably do that with a 1903, a late serial number, 1903 Springfield, but you cannot do that with an M1 Garand. Not for very long anyway, because it will bend the operating rod. Yeah, it's looking pretty good there. Looking pretty good. Oh, the vinegar bath. If you basically, vinegar will dissolve rust very slowly, but it will start to dissolve rust. Now, there are some, oh no, I'm out of this. There are some commercial products on the market that are better at dissolving rust, but vinegar does an awesome job at dissolving rust pretty well. So something I definitely recommend, at least for starters. Just trying to get as much of this rust off there as possible. Yeah, I'll do some sort of additional work to this later on to really get it perfect, but this is a good start. That really came off pretty well. Let's go back to the early part of the video. You should be able to see the difference between here and now. Looks like most of it came off my hands. Yeah, Brady, you're right. The 1903, I've heard mixed feelings on that, whether that was overblown or not. But you know, it's better safe to be sorry. You know, safe or sorry that the 1903 Springfield, the early receivers were a little brittle. How brittle were they? I don't know, but they were a little brittle. The same thing. There are some issues with the 1917 here. That not the Remingtons. This is a Remington manufacturer. Winchester also made them, as well as the main company that made them was a company called Eddystone. And now the Eddystone, this is the theory. This is the idea behind it, but I've yet to see any proof of this. I'm just going to tell you the story while I'm cleaning out the spring, because this is riveting, I'm sure. That the workers at Remington and at Winchester made the fewest 1917s. Remington made a couple times more than Winchester, and then Eddystone made over 1 million, like way more than anybody else. And the story is, which I have not been able to corroborate, but the story is that the workers at Winchester and the workers at Remington here were paid basically a salary. For the most part, they were paid pseudo salary wise for this, or hourly or whatever. You know, they were not incentivized as much to get a ton of work done without it not being quality work. Eddystone, according to the stories, were paid by the piece. And there was a barrel torquing procedure where it was almost like a AR-15, where you'd torque it in stages, you know, torque it, let off, torque it, whatever. I don't know exactly what the procedure was, but there was a torque procedure that took a lot of time to get the torque on the barrel to the receiver correct. And supposedly the story is that Eddystone decided, hey, it was a lot faster just to crank the thing down full bore, nonstop until it was lined up correctly and move on to the next rifle. Who cares, you know, if it's all stressed out from the torquing procedure. And you know, they made more money that way, and they made more rifles that way. So one of the things is that it still passes inspection. It's still fine, just like the Remingtons and the Winchesters. But if you try to replace the barrel later on, that could possibly crack the receiver right up here. Usually, I think it cracks normally like underneath or right around here, and it will crack the receiver if you start twisting that barrel off. Like if the gunsmith starts torquing off that barrel to replace it, then I believe I've heard they had to cut into the barrel, or basically do some relief cutting into the barrel to make it easier to remove, and then it doesn't crack the receiver. That's a story I've been told from several different people. So I don't know if that's just something that's just an old tale that's been passed around and everyone just takes it as gospel without reviewing it or verifying it, but that's what I've heard. So all these old rifles have their own caveats, you know, so it's not, you know, these are great rifles, just like all, you know, the 1903 Springfields are great rifles, but they all have their issues. That's got a little rust on it, but not much. That's not bad. Let me move the lighting over here a little bit so you guys can get a little better lights on action there. Yeah, it's got a tiny dusting of rust on it. It's got a little more inside. I'll get to that at some point. Actually, I could get to that right now with one of these brushes here. This is a standard 30 caliber brush, and it's got some steel wool wrapped around it. And that's really when you really need to upset some rust and some rough bores. A 30 caliber bronze brush with steel wool wrapped around it works really well. That's how you get those old Nagants. Not the finished ones, but the old ones from Russia, cleaned up and their bores actually looking halfway decent. A little bit of steel wool on that brush. You know, Vega, I was trying to find some Kroll. I've never used Kroll. I looked for some Kroll oil, but I couldn't find any locally. I didn't really think about it until just like yesterday, so I looked, could not find any. Where is that normally? Oh, the Mark III infield. Nice. That's a solid firearm, James. I'll give you a word of warning. If you hate money or hate your wallet, then get yourself your Curio Relic license, where you get discounts on these firearms like this, and they mail them straight to your door. You can basically I can call up Classic Firearms with my license and just tell them, you know, wrap whatever up, and they just send it to me. As long as it's a Curio Relic rifle like this, or like the Swiss K31s or whatever, and they just send them right to your door. So there's no FFL charge or anything, because you're pre-approved by the ATF. So if you ever want to start a collection, although some of those old rifles, they've really kind of dried out, unfortunately, which I hate. Although I'm pretty sure there's a ton more behind a Soviet embargo right now. Ton more Nagants out there ready for the taking. They just need to be imported. That looks pretty good. It's not perfect. That's pretty good. Let me get a brush out. There we go. I'm going to do a little bit of rust out of the corner there. Well, that's not bad looking. And this has not been refinished. This, to the best of my knowledge, this This guy's grandfather bought this at some random store, probably the grocery store back in the 40s or 30s, when they were getting these out of the, they were basically liquidating this to get ready for the war effort. So you could buy old rifles all the time from the 20s and 30s and 40s before the war started. And they had barrels of this stuff. They had barrels of those like 30, 40 Craigs out there just stacked up, and you can buy them for like $4 or $5 a piece. This was way before my time, and probably before most of the people alive now, honestly. Yeah, there's something about, I will say, as as someone who has embraced modern technology, James, there are some good things about the new polymers and everything. If you went back in time and gave everyone back in World War I a Glock, or at least hopefully the good guys, us, a Glock, I think that would have been a pretty good investment. But yeah, for the most part, this will outlive a Glock, definitely. A well done 1911, which they're coming to the CMP, by the way. Holy crap! Can you guys believe that? 1911s being sold at the civilian marksmanship program. Cannot wait for that to happen. I've been waiting for that for years. That's cleaned up pretty nicely too. But yeah, the 1911s were good, but I think a Glock would have done pretty well too back then. But 1911s are still around. The Glocks, I know some broken Glocks in the past. Now they've taken a lot of rounds. It takes a lot of rounds to break a Glock, but it can happen. Yeah, that's cleaning up nicely. Cleaning up nicely. Yeah, David, that's where I got my M1 Garand was from the CMP program. Beautiful rifle. I got the service grade. This is a normal service grade rifle, so it's not 100%. It's a piecemeal. It's got a representation of everything. It's got some Winchester, some HMR, it's got a Springfield receiver in it, and it's a beautiful rifle, and it's got a brand new barrel in it. It gauges as a new barrel, so I don't think it's been shot until I got my grubby hands on it, at least. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, very good. Yeah, the CMP, they've been running out, from my understanding. They've been running out of M1 Garands for a while. Here's a question for you guys. How do you expect people to pronounce the name M1 Garand? Because Garand is not how the inventor pronounced his name. He pronounced the name Garand. But the literature on the M1 Garand that went out for the military had a pronunciation log or chart or whatever that showed that you pronounced the name of the rifle as Garand, but the inventor's name was Garand. I guess I'm sure both. You can see both as being correct. What do you guys think? Which one do you go with, Garand or Garand? Right, this is looking good. This bolt still got some issues there. Let me grab one of my pointers. There we go. Still got some a little divot right there, and got some rust still in there that I'll have to pick out with something. I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah, I might have to. Those crevices are not cleaning up as nicely as I was hoping. I mean, they're pretty good, but it looks like there's been quite a bit of moisture on that bolt. Someone did not store or lubricate this rifle very well. All right. Exactly, guys. That's the way. That's my feeling too. Thank you so much. The fact that it really doesn't matter. We all have brains in our heads, usually, that can decipher what someone's talking about. You know, if someone says Gran or Garen rifle, you know what that person's saying. Just like when someone says suppressor versus silencer, you know what they're talking about. Like clip versus magazine, unless they're holding. Well, I guess if you're not in a conversation, you don't know which one they're meaning. You know, clip or magazine. But if they're holding a AR-15 and they ask for a clip, you know to give them this. If they're holding a Nagant and ask for a clip, you know to give them this. You know, it's all about context. You know, we have a brain for a reason. It's not just not to play video games. The outside of that bolt's pretty good shape. Looks like it started out its life as blued. It's got some corrosion inside. I'll have to get something into that at some point. Let's see if I got anything big enough to deal with that here. I don't know what size brush that is. That's a 40. Let's see. Oh, perfect. It's a pistol brush I'm just using just to maybe just knock some of the rust off inside here. Because that's a completely sealed in there. That doesn't screw off or anything. That's just a neck down portion and a little spinny doodad for your extractor. May have to investigate that further, but we'll go ahead and just get some lube in there. And this will at least stop any kind of progress with that rust, because there is some in there, definitely. There's no question about it. Yeah, I'll have to. Actually, I've got a mop in here. Let's see. There we go. I've got an old carpet mop here, basically. Let me use that here. It's red. Man, I need to make some of that. I made that a long time ago when I first heard about it many years ago when I first started getting a little more serious into firearms. I made some and I've not made any since. Just too lazy. And I kind of like the scent of, Hoppies number 9. I've got that kind of ingrained in my memories. That looks pretty good, actually. That looks not bad. Well, you can't see that, but that looks pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, a lot of rust came out of it, though, so I'll have to really clean it up later. But we'll go ahead and set all this junk aside here. And so we don't lose it, put it on my magnetic tray. Luckily, everything is made of steel, so that's good. I'll set that aside. Now, let's take apart this rifle. I've not had this I've just looked down the barrel, and that's it when I bought this thing. Probably not the smartest thing I've ever done, but the guy gave me a good deal, a good price on it. Okay, all right. And let's see, we got screws, we got barrel bands. Let's see, we got 2 screws holding the action right there. We got a barrel band screw there, and let's see, and we got 2 screws over here for the barrel band as well. Looks like one that pinches down the barrel band and one that probably crosses all the way through the stock. So let's go ahead and start taking off those barrel bands first. Oh God, if you're not ever invested in some good gun screwdrivers, Grace USA, man, these are so good. They're not quite traditional hollow ground flathead screwdrivers, but man, they are very close and very sturdy. Okay, I think I got that. Yep, okay. Oh, and the... Okay, so... At least, I don't know if this was official or not, but on the bolt side was the long side of that because it's off-centered. So, note to the internet so I can watch this later. We'll go ahead and put that into the magnetic bin. And we'll flip her over here. Do the same over here. Oh, James, your 7-2 Plinkster isn't as accurate. You know, that's one of the problems that's one of the things that I hate about the cheaper firearms. Is that, oh, that's not going to go in there very well. I might need a smaller screwdriver. See if that works there. There we go. The lesser expensive, can you see that? There we go. The less a firearm costs, generally, the worse the quality control is, which is very unfortunate because that was the fate of my Savage 64. I ripped the Savage 64 that I got. I ripped it to shreds. People hated that video, and hated me because of that video. People took it as personal offense that I did not like the Savage 64, but the one I got shot horribly. And I don't. Everyone else kept on telling me that theirs shot great, which is fantastic because it's a neat design. But man, mine had horrible accuracy. There we go. So I think that's the main problem with the less expensive firearms. Is that here we go? Is that it's just the quality control. The end consumer becomes the quality control. Okay, and now to note on the internet, that's the long side of this swivel sling set is also on the bolt side. So hopefully, I think that's the same size bolt. I'll try to keep them together. Okay, now I'm going to bet this thing just slides right off here. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, let me get the last barrel band up here. I've got a little notch. I don't know if that's factory. Let's see. It's got a little. Grab my pointer. It's got a weird little divot there. Okay, so you got a little pin right there. That's flush. That's normal. You flip it over, and the pin protrudes. It protrudes in front of the barrel band. Is that meant to be that way? You can see it sticking up right there. I'm not sure if that's meant to be that way or not. Do not know. If someone else in the audience there has one of these rifles, and you've noticed that too, let me know. Yeah, it just slides right over there. I'm going to try not to scratch there we go. All right, barrel band's off. It's got a little bit of rust in it. Not much though. I'll clean it up. Let me clean up a little bit here. Just a tad bit. Don't do it now. I won't do it ever. So let me go ahead and just clean it up. Just to stop the progress of time. Okay, that's at least stopped the rust and taken off most of it, so that's good. There we go. Toss that in the magnetic bin. Yeah, James, I will wholeheartedly say that the Marlin Model 60 is a fantastic 22. All right, that's good. Hey, the barrel looks good right there. That's nice and clean. Sweet. That should be it. That comes off too. There we go. Again, barrel looks nice and clean. Wow, that's weird. Look at how different it is. Between the receiver and the barrel, completely different type of finish. Huh. Usually you take off the handguards on a Mosin Nagant, it's all the exact same finish all the way down. That very different. I don't know if I'm assuming the receivers and the barrels were made by different manufacturers. I have no idea. I'm not sure. Actually, I think I do remember this being a replacement barrel. They replaced some of these barrels back in like right before World War II. They replaced these barrels for training purposes, I believe. They use them for training. And I think this was a replacement barrel, which would make sense. The reason why it's completely different. Let's see. I know there's a designation here. Let's see if I can. Oh, there we go. JA. Here we go. I completely forgot this. Oh, the lighting's bad. Let's see if I can get it to get my pointer. There we go. Very vaguely right there. You can see the flaming bomb right there. And if you can see that, hopefully, JA. You maybe it'll see that, you maybe not. It says JA right there. That is a replacement barrel. That was done much later on. And I don't think this ever saw World War II action. Of course, these were all utilized in World War I. These were utilized like crazy in World War I. And there is a rumor, it's very well thought. It's not proven, but it's very well thought that the accolades of Alvin York, also a Tennessee native, used in his famous battle, used a 1917, not a 1903 Springfield. If that's true, if it's false, I don't know. I don't think it's ever been proven, but still, these were heavily utilized. Actually, there's way more of these than 03 Springfields out there. Oh, Taurus, yeah, the Marlin 39A, man, that's a beast of a 22 lever action. I love that thing. I've never owned one. I've always wanted one. They're always a little out of my price range for basically a toy for my concern. So, but they are nice. They are nice. As far as the Ruger 1022, I need to make just a good and bad and ugly about 22 rifles, because I've got an example of pretty much every single 22 out there. And the Ruger 1022, I both love and hate that thing. I love it in the fact that it's so versatile, it's so reliable, and it's like Legos. You can make anything out of that Ruger 1022 you want to. You can make it into a pistol, into a Gatling gun, whatever. And there's someone that makes parts for it. But I've never been super impressed with the average Ruger 1022's accuracy out of the box. Now, you can make them super accurate, but it costs you $1,000. I've got a good deal on that ER Shaw barrel, and it's still not super accurate. It brings it down to the accuracy of my completely bare bones stock Marlin Model 60. So, now I'm sure there are great examples of accuracy from Ruger in the 1022 straight out of the box, but I've yet to really see them that often. Now, the best idea is to have both a Ruger 1022 and a Marlin Model 60. That way, you got all your bases covered. There we go. Okay, so we got the floor plate, all that's there. That comes out, but I couldn't get it to budge earlier. I tried to get that out earlier, but I could not get it to move. So we're going to take it all out together. And that is very clean. There's no rust on that whatsoever. There's a little bit of mildew, so that's not good. But no rust on that at all. Good deal. So that's good. We're going to put that in the parts bin. And now this should pretty much just lift off. Oh yeah, I've got to use a nose cap. I forgot about that. Oh, there's the That's the actual magazine. Of course, internal magazine. Let's see. There you go, goes like that. So that comes out. Go ahead and put that over there as well. And now we got this nose cap to deal with. Does that come off? How does that happen? How does that work? Let me use so the barrel's loose in that, but still got a nose cap that's kind of capturing that. So whoops. I'm not positive. Oh, Taurus, the Glenfield 25. Man, I've always wanted one of the Glenfields. Old Marlin Glenfields. You never cool. Even those old, like the squirrel stock, you know, it's got the normal Marlin Model 60 look, but it's got that squirrel embossed in the, you know, around the wrist of the stock. I've always wanted one of those. Every time I've seen them at the gun show, though, they've always been asking way too much money for them, so I've never partaken. Oh, how do I get that nose cap off? Again, guys, this is the first time I've ever had this thing apart. I'm assuming that slides off. Yeah, that's stock right there. I believe. Maybe not. Well, I'm not going to go crazy with it, but yeah, that moves. I really like to get this action out there, but I'm not sure how that nose cap comes off. So it looks like this thing has not been apart in many a decade. Well, that's definitely attached to the stock. Yeah, they did pay the Mauser company royalties for that, for the 1903. I always thought was pretty interesting. And they actually honored that too. I would think, you know, you declare war against a country, that pretty much makes your patents kind of null and void in my mind, but they still did. They still went ahead and paid them, which is pretty interesting. Okay, does that nose cap has to come off somehow? I just don't know how it comes off. Let's see. Let me get a closer look at it here. Everyday carry, by the way, the 3-knot T10. Excellent little flashlight here. I cannot tell if that goes in through. Looks like it might just come off with a little persuasion. So of course I am not going to hit it with a real hammer, but a piece of plastic. There we go. Yep. There we go. If you, when in doubt, get a bigger hammer. But make sure it's soft if you're dealing with an antique. Perfect. There we go. And if that's not proof I've not had this thing apart ever, I don't know what is. Look at that. Okay, here we go. We got a little bit of, so I can get that, shine some light in there. There's all the cutouts inside, and this is the official stock that came with it. It's got all the markings, all the cartouches that you'd expect from a M1917. There's a little bit of mildew right there. A little bit of mildew growing. So I need to take care of that. Or it might just be dust. I can't tell. But definitely something needs to be addressed. But yeah, it's got all the normal cartouches on it that you would expect from an original rifle. There's no serial number stamped on it though. Sometimes, not always, sometimes they will mark a serial number. Yeah, it's got a little cartouche there, if you can see that or not. So that's an official cartouche. I made it worse. There is an official cartouche there, which is cool. Nice, heavy, stiff. There's no cracks in it whatsoever. Nice. Okay, cool. Set that aside. And let's take this bad boy. Okay, that barrel band stays on there apparently, because that doesn't come off without... You have to take the front sight assembly off to get this off, and I'm not doing that. So that'll just have to sit there and rattle. Now, kind of the moment of truth. Oh, I'm dropping stuff again. Okay, kind of the moment of truth here is the receiver. Okay, there's the alignment mark. That's not a crack. That's an alignment mark they used to when they reinstalled the barrel. So this already has a new barrel on it. But boy, is that barrel rough. So they've already reinstalled a new barrel in this. And the cracks are usually pretty evident. Usually you will see a crack somewhere around right underneath where what I've heard on the internet, you know, on the good old interwebs. You'll see a crack right underneath the area where the wood covers it, where the stock covers it. And so I'm going to look very closely at this. And I'll look even closer, you know, off camera later on at some point in time before I shoot it. And that little barrel band there, it's got a little rust in it that holds the stock on. Retain a little moisture at some point in its life. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now we can see really well. You can see right there. I don't see any kind of hairline crack or anything. Nope. Very good. Very, very good. Let me clean up that rust just a little bit. Right here. Man, these little scouring green pads, they are awesome. You can buy them by the pack of a dozen. Yep, I see no issues whatsoever with that. So that's fantastic. So we have got a viable shooter here, it looks like. And may not hit where I'm shooting at when you see this barrel. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the receiver has no rust in it whatsoever. There's a trigger mechanism right there. So that's very reminiscent of a Mauser as well, with that kind of cantilever trigger. I'm sure there's a actual name for that. I don't know what it is. I am not a professional gunsmith. I'm a professional gun dude. Now that barrel. Oh, that barrel. Let's see if I can get at least a little bit, show you a little bit what I'm talking about here with this barrel. So I know YouTube's probably already taken off all kinds of monetization because I've showed this. So here we go. I'm pointing a barrel right at the camera. Sorry. Let's see if I can get, I'm going to look. I don't think you'll be able to see anything. Let's see if I can get you at least to look down the barrel some. No, it doesn't look like it. Let's see. Gotta get you lined up correctly. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now you're looking down it. It's not going to focus, I don't think. No, you can't see it. Well, crap. Okay. You might be able to see. No, you can't see that. Oh, well, trust me. The barrel is atrocious. That was time well spent. Will I slug the barrel? Yes, I will definitely slug the barrel at some point. Right now, I'm just got to clean it because it looks like a sewer pipe inside. I'm going to clean it from the receiver end back here and push everything out the muzzle. I want to move the stock out of the way though, because I don't want to hurt it. That's the nicest part of the whole rifle. Okay, I've got a steel, a nice polymer coated steel cleaning rod, and it's not long enough to go from the very back to the front of the rifle because the whole action is in the way too. So I'm going to put another brass cleaning rod on the end of that, and that gives me plenty of room to have fun with here. Oh, the TT33. I started, one of my first things when I got a CNR license was to start collecting those. I had an idea of collecting every single Tokarev pistol out there. And I got a Polish one, I got a Romanian one, I got a Yugoslavian one, and then I looked for a Russian one, found one, and it was like $600. I said no. And then I found out that North Korea had one too, which means I would never be able to get that. So I kind of gave up on my dream of having every single Tokarev rifle or pistol out there. Yeah, now you can get brand new 7.62x25 ammo. So it's not too hard to come by. They come out in waves. So whenever you see it pop out, go ahead and grab it because you may not see it for quite some time after that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. Let's throw a patch through it first. Let's throw a patch down the barrel, and I can at least show you what comes out of it. Because I'm curious myself what comes out of this thing. There we go. Get myself my 30 caliber Jag here. Use Ballistol first. That'll be fitting for the... Wait, Ballistol, wasn't that made for the German infantry? Maybe this is sacrilegious, I don't know. Okay, let me try to show you guys what I'm doing here instead of keeping y'all in the dark. Alright, I got my cleaning patch. I've already made it kind of dirty with my fingerprints. Okay, let's see what this looks like on the end here. First cleaning patch through this ever. Well, that's not bad. The thing looks like a sewer pipe inside. It must. I have to put a brush through it first. Knock all that loose. Let me spray. Let's see. Let me spray some of this powder blaster in here. I don't know. I'm just going to spray that all the way down inside there. Oh, did I spray the camera? No, okay. All right. Now, let me take a brush through there and really knock everything loose. Then we'll go to town with a cleaning patch and see what gunk comes out, because it does look like a sewer pipe inside this thing. It is not pretty. Now, I've used this same brush to clean several Nagants, so it's already kind of gross on its own and kind of loose too. So let me try to put in a little bit tighter 30 caliber brush here. There we go. Here's a brand new one, so we'll really go to town with this sucker. Leo, the 7.62 by 25. I'm not sure if it'll defeat level 3 body armor, but it definitely packs a wallop when it comes to normal body armor. It goes through stuff that normal pistol rounds do not. Okay, now let's throw a patch through it again and see what comes out. Now, many years ago, when the channel was just barely getting started, I did a video where I used a Tokarev to, maybe it was a CZ52, I can't remember. But anyway, I was shooting the 7.62 by 25 round, and it was the only thing that went through a hard drive. Nothing else I had went through a hard drive. There we go. That's what I was expecting. It's a little bit dirty. A little bit dirty for something I've never shot. Okay, so let me grab that was just with the jack, so let me take that off. I'm gonna just run a patch up and down it real quick. Find the correct one. There we go. There we go. I'm just gonna run a patch up and down there with some powder blaster and anything else I've got up here. Yeah, Leo, you gotta do what you gotta do. I wholly understand that. That's being someone to do Christmas lights, you do Christmas lights. I will still be here. This video will go up for your viewing pleasure later. So you have a great night. Don't fall off the ladder. I mean, that's not really, it's not coming out as dirty as I expected. I expected to be all kinds of grunge come out of here and we're all going to like go, ooh, gross. But no, it's just kind of normal looking actually. But man, that barrel looks awful still. Yeah, that barrel still looks pretty bad. I'm gonna keep on working on it just a little bit. I wish I could show you guys. I wish I could show you that close up there, but I've got my hands full with my camera and my chat, and I can't get a good view on with for you guys, unfortunately. But this will at least stop any kind of issues in the future. And I'll find out later on if I can get this thing rebarreled at some point, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure, because it's kind of a piece of history. It's kind of a living, breathing piece of history. So do I want to rebarrel it to something I can shoot when I already have plenty of firearms that shoot fantastically? Do I want to rebarrel this with something from the C&P? Or, because that's what's cool. The C&P does have barrels for this. I have no idea if they're new. I think they're a new manufacturer, but you can get a brand new barrel for this from the C&P, and it's like match grade too. So there is an option out there, and it's a good one. Yeah, you can see that right there. You can see the gunk coming out of that barrel up there. She's definitely not a clean one. She's a dirty girl. I knew it was going to be pretty rough with it. That's why I went from the rear end there, from the back of the of the action versus the muzzle, because that's something that, I mean, I'm sure 99% of you guys already know this, but if you're going to clean from the muzzle end, now this is already nicked all the heck, so that's not an issue here. You can see all those nicks around the corner there. But if you did have a pristine muzzle and a pristine bore and you were cleaning it, you'd want to clean from the back, because the front, you could drag a cleaning rod against the side there and cause a tiny little nick on the side of that, just on the crown there, going into the muzzle. That's called the crown. And if you nick that just the slightest amount, that lets the gas out behind the bullet there first, and could basically jet the bullet off track a little bit. So when you can, always clean from the action end, not the muzzle. Best practice. This rifle, something tells me it doesn't matter. But it's always a good practice. And I always try to be a little bit of a source of wisdom, at least, or at least not be a source of bad info. Okay. Now let's run another patch through this thing. Oh, Adam, do they cosmoline American guns? Yes, they do. There's every country has their own cosmoline, and every country, because I have purchased firearms straight from the importer that got them straight from the warehouse, from just about every single importable country. So I've gotten them from Russia, I've gotten them from Serbia, from Yugoslavian rifles, or Serbia now, and I've gotten them from China, I've gotten them from Brazil, let's see, from the UK, and from American stockpiles. Every single one has used cosmoline of some sort, and they all smell different. I don't know what it is. The one Serbia, Yugoslavian rifles, like the Yugoslavian SKSs, those smell just like Crayola crayons. I don't know why, but they do. They smell just like crayons. Russia's smells, I can't really describe it, but it smells very different than the stuff that came on American rifles. And the Chinese rifle, oh, that stank to high heaven. I bought several Chinese rifles, and man, the cosmoline they used was nasty. It smelled like, have you ever taken apart a differential? The grease that comes out of a differential out of the vehicle, that putrid smell, that's what the Chinese cosmoline smelled like to me. It was awful. And I opened that box up on my dining room table. So my wife was not happy with me when she came home from work. Actually, I did that that's one of my old videos. If you look at my $65 Mosin Nagant, it was those from China. I also got a Chinese SKS that smelled horrific as well. But the ones from the Fix Me Now rifles from Century Arms, Century National Arms. Oh, those smelled so bad. And I got that crap all over my dining room table. Let's see, I'm going to put some serious patches through this thing. See what that looks like. Yeah, David, your SKS does too. So you got a new one. You got a new Norinco SKS? Whoa, man. Mine looked like it got drug here behind a truck. Mine was awful looking. Oh, let's try this. Hey, let's try this. The foaming gun cleaner. Never used it. Cleans down to the pores. Removes carbon, lead, copper, scent free. Oh, I like hoppy scent though. Okay. Now I have no idea how to use this. I'm assuming it's got a nozzle in here for a reason. Let's see. Okay, let's set 0 to 5 minutes. Okay. Scrub with brush, wipe. Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead and do that. I have no idea what this does, but heck, it's not going to hurt anything, so. You can't break something that's already broken. See if I can get a good view on that myself here. Oh, I guess I need to have it upright. There we go. Whoa. How interesting. Okay. So I guess we need to pour it or spray it down the business end. I guess that makes more sense. Well, that doesn't work. How do you use this thing? I thought this was going to be aerosol, but it's not. Okay, so just spray some in there and use your bore brush. I got it. I got you. I thought it would be something that we would be spraying in and it would coat the whole thing all the way down automatically. I was expecting something like that. I was wrong. So I've never come across that before. All my stuff is all old school, you know, Ballistol and CLP. Okay, let's see if I can get this in there without hitting the lights. And yes, I'm cleaning from the muzzle. Yeah, now the guy who owned this before me, he says he shot it a lot as a kid. And he says that it shot really well. It's very accurate. By looking at that bore, I don't see how that's possible. But I've been surprised before. I've got a horrible looking Mosin Nagant, and it shoots pretty well actually, so. Okay, let's go ahead and just put a brush down here now. Oh, something looks like a bird crapped on my floor there. Came out of this rifle. Ew. Well, that's loosening up something. Maybe this is working pretty well. I've got a little, little pieces that I've got to clean off here and there, but it's really not bad. It is not bad, except for the, the most important part, the bore. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, read the instructions. I come from a long line of winging it. Although every generation, my grandfather, he wrote the instructions. He didn't read them. My dad threw the instructions away. Now, on occasion, I will pick up the instructions after I fail the first time. So maybe the next generation or two will actually sit down calmly and collectively and read the instructions before starting a project. Maybe. So I can only hope for the best for the next generation in my family. Oh yeah, the bore is very crusty. The bore looks like a sewer pipe. Well, it's dripping out of the bore right now. Let me show you what's hitting the floor there. That's what's coming out of the barrel. That's probably going to be there to stay. I can't imagine that coming up very easily from my shop floor. Okay, now let's go ahead and put this brush through it. Brush has been I've used this brush so much it's kind of too small. So let me put the new one on. Where did I put that? There we go. Got my new 30 cal size brush. 3/10 of an inch. Come on. There we go. Okay. Now, let's put a, let me clean up this cleaning rod here. Clean the cleaning rod. Good luck getting that clean, yeah. Yeah, I'm not looking for a spick and span finish. Let's just say this will not ever pass the white glove test. That is for sure. So if I'm ever called to action, I'll be bringing my M1 Garand, not this thing. Okay, let's see. This patch is a little oversized, so hopefully that will. That's too big. Yeah, way oversized. Yeah, it's too big. I was wanting something tight to fit it through there, though. We'll start off with the normal size patch. Yo! Yep, there's your problem. Oh, yeah, that is a, that's definitely something. I'm going to use one of these cloth patches here and put a 22 jag on there. This is a 30 caliber jag. I'll put a 22 jag on there and see if that'll work. So I've got a ton of these, and I never can use them. And I think something like this might benefit from something a little more robust, like this big cloth, thick cloth cleaning. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. That's going to scrub it really well. All right. Very nice. Looks like something from Resident Evil Umbrella Corp. And we'll get double duty out of that. I'll turn it around and clean it from the other side. Yeah, that's perfect. Alrighty. Yeah, I think this barrel might be done for. I don't know. Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome everyone coming in. It's like a piece of French art. Yeah. Oh, David, you know, many years ago, when I first started getting into collecting antique, because I always had firearms of some sort, but I always knew firearms. When I finally come to my senses and realized, hey, there's some really cool older firearms out there. Surrounding me at gun shows were tons of the Japanese rifles from World War II, and I didn't get one. I mean, they were cheap too. Oh, they were so cheap. I didn't get one because of the scarcity of the ammo. But now I wish I had, just for collector's sake. But back then I wanted something I could shoot because I didn't have the collection I have now. But now I have a firearms collection, so I can just buy stuff that's for fun. But yeah, I agree. Those things, it's a great action. The Japanese actions were really good, but man, the ammo is still hard to find. Occasionally, companies will do runs on that type of ammo, but it's not consistent. You know, you're not going to find it at Walmart for, 50 cents a round like you can 308. Which Which I don't know. I've not seen 308 for 50 cents a round in a while either. It's been a while since I've seen 5.56 for like $5 for a 20 or $5 for a box of 20. Remember we used to be able to get that from, oh, let's see, pretty much anywhere. You used to get that little brown cardboard box. You don't see that anymore either. It's Federal, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I've not seen that in forever either. Mr. Richard, so it looks like you're coming from the UK, I would say, from that price figure of £100. Yeah, that's. You remember when the US is kind of funny when the US was having this huge crisis of not being able to find 22 ammo. I've heard you guys had no problem at all practically forever. You always had the ability to get 22 ammo, which we went for about 3 years. I never saw more than a box of 50 rounds of 22. Unless someone had scavenged it and was selling it for 3 or 4 times the price as normal. So I find it pretty cool that you guys were still able to get the 22 that we couldn't. The gun capital of the world. I've got some gunk down here too. Let me show you guys that right there. And I got some gunk down there. Go ahead and just use one of my shop rags here and the 30 caliber Jag. Maybe that'll just get in there and there we go. That's close enough. Oh, you can see how the safety works too. That's cool. See that? Get my pointer. There we go. See, there's your sear right there. See right there, you can see it go down there and pull the trigger, and right behind there is the safety, and it just rotates in place and stops the bolt from being able to be used. Huh? Interesting. Very cool. Okay. That should also... No, it doesn't stop the... Huh. It just holds back the firing pin, so you can still pull the trigger. You just can't trip the sear, because the sear is actually being tripped, but the firing pin is being held back by the safety. Interesting. One of those things that was keeping it simple stupid, or keeping it stupid simple, whichever acronym you want to use. Oh, Nicholas, there's a good question. What happened to the 22? For years and years, no one could find 22. I couldn't find 22. I had to basically hoard up 22 to do videos with. I don't know how 22 Plinkster did it, because I think he had a deal with Federal, something I never had. But yeah, it was hard to find 22 ammo forever. And then suddenly, out of the blue, the second the election goes through, 22 ammo for everybody. You can find it at Walmart now. I bought a box of 550 for $22 at Walmart just a few, maybe last week. Now Walmart the Walmart I go to, that's closest to me, is still limiting the number of rounds. You can only buy one brick of 22 ammo at a time. So they're still limiting it, but it's there. It's actually there in the store, and it's a normal price. And just came out of nowhere. It went from being able to not find anything at all to suddenly it's everywhere. Oh, you're taking it all in the UK? Well, that's all right. That's all right. You guys got to have your fun too. You know, we all need to have fun with our firearms. Now, I believe Federal, I think it was Federal, either Federal or CCI, opened up a whole new manufacturing facility for 22 ammo just to export, just to put relief off the US based, or the the amount being sold just to the U.S., just to relieve those guys, so they didn't have to think about do we import or export, or do we export these or keep them in the U.S. They made a whole nother manufacturing facility, a whole nother building and everything, just to manufacture 22 ammo for overseas, for you guys in the UK. And I guess in Germany, I don't know, Germany has their own really good stockpile, I would think, their own manufacturing. I don't know. What do you guys in the UK, do you guys have a 22 ammo manufacturer? I have no idea. I don't think I've ever seen any 22 ammo made in the UK. I've got stuff made in Germany. I've got stuff made in trying to think, in the Ukraine. Oh, one of the former Soviet states. I've got some of that ammo. I don't think I've ever seen anything except for I've got some antique ammo from the UK for my 303. But other than that, I've never seen any kind of UK ammo. Common stuff is federal. Do they have their own manufacturing in the UK? Or is it all imported? I wouldn't. I have no idea. Oh, I can't reach that in there. I think Federal has their own ammo manufacturing facility down I-40. It's in Arkansas. Every time I take a cross-country road trip across the U.S., about at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, I take off. I go ahead and load up the car and I take off across country down I-40, which goes, if you're not familiar with it, I-40 goes from the ocean from North Carolina straight through Tennessee, which is where I'm in Tennessee, and right across Arkansas, across Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and then into California. It goes all the way across from coast to coast. So it's a great, I happen to live right on it practically. So it's a great trip. And you get to go right by, I think it's Federal. It's an ammunition manufacturing facility, great big sucker. Oh, I stopped one time to ask if I could have a tour. They very promptly told me to leave. They were not cool with me just pulling up there without any kind of designation on my car or any kind of like calling ahead or anything. I just kind of showed up like, hey, I'm driving by. Can I take a look around? No. They were not cool at all. Oh, that's cool. So you make your own in the UK. Good deal. Good deal. Keeping that stuff local, that's always good. I mean, of course I'm supposed to say, oh, the US should be exporting everybody, but, you know, everyone should be able to make their own stuff. You know, you always make a little bit better, you use a little bit better progress when you're, or procedure and stuff when you're making something. Use a little bit better about it when you're making stuff for home versus away. Alrighty, well that's about as clean as we're going to get this sucker, I think. I'm going to push a few more patches down the barrel just to clean it out a little bit more. Maybe even, let me run the brush through it again too, just to loosen up as much as I can. It's a losing battle, but hey, good or best shot. I'll see you, James. Have a good evening. And thanks for dropping by, too. Always appreciate everybody that shows up to my little humble channel here. If it weren't for you guys, I'd be a crazy person talking to myself. Okay, I'm just going to force through a couple more patches, and then we're going to put this sucker back together. We'll see how she works. Of course, I'm not going to fire it here because something tells me firing a 30-06 inside is a little bit different than firing my 9mm inside, which I have done. I have fired my Glock in here, in the bunker. There's a video on that. Okay, push this through here. Here we go. Using an extra thick extra thick patch and a 22 Jag. Let me get you, there we go. Got a little better view there. Yeah, it's still coming out pretty gnarly looking. All Resident Evil Umbrella Corp. Okay. It's getting a little better. Or the patches are getting a little better. The barrel probably is still god awful. Adam, John Wick bunker style. Oh, I wish I had his setup. Although, did you see the last movie, the second movie? Oh man, I am, because they have a third already going. They're already either making it or writing it or whatever. But I'm curious to see what are they going to do with that, because now everybody's after. Oh, spoiler alert! If you're not seeing John Wick Part 2, stop listening. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. If you're not seeing John Wick Part 2 yet, it's a spoiler. But you know everybody's after him now. So what are they going to do? What is he going to do? He can't kill everybody. He's got to kill somebody. He's going to have to take down the entire, I guess, hitman industry that he kind of shows us. And that's getting better. So I'm very curious how that's going to work out. That Vortec Eliminator. Huh. I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure if it'll work the miracle this barrel needs, but that will definitely be, I will always take info from someone who's tried it. I will definitely look that up. Hey Robert, how's it going, buddy? How's it going? If you just showed up, we are hanging out here, cleaning out this 1917 M1917. And of course, if you've missed too much of it, I will be uploading this right after we're done here. And you can watch it whenever you feel like. You can see where I screw up and see where I drop things. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. It's not too good. It's not great or anything, you know. It's not like when I ran a patch through my compass rifles, which was clean as a whistle. Okay, so I'm going to take a look down the barrel here. Man, I wish I could get you guys to see this here. Because it is gnarly. Let's see if I can see down here pretty well. I want to see if you guys can see that. I definitely want to. I want you guys to see the awful nature of this barrel. There we go. Can you see that? Oh, look at how crushed that barrel looks. That's after cleaning all this. I think you can see that fairly decently. That is pretty rough barrel if you can tell. That is not good. And that's after cleaning. What do you guys think? You think that barrel is savable? I have no idea. I'm going to shoot it. I'll shoot it and see what happens. But something tells me that, yeah, grungy for sure. Something tells me that the dude selling me this either A, didn't know what accuracy was or what an accurate rifle is supposed to be like, or B, was trying to sell the rifle. Now, I was going to buy it anyway because he had a good price on it, even just as a collector's item. So I was going to buy it anyway. So I'm not upset with him or anything. I don't think he cheated me out of anything, or he was a good guy. But I think he was trying to oversell it just a little bit. I don't see how that can be accurate in the least bit. Yeah, it does look bad. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to shoot it and see. Boar snake. You know, I've got a boar snake here. Let's see. Here's my travel. Now you saw, I don't know if some of you, on the thumbnail, at the very beginning of the thumbnail, you saw my, I'm kind of taking it apart now, but my old cleaning kit here. You know, basically it's just a drawer that I've modified to hold a bunch of junk. And I've got my travel case. This is my travel cleaning case here. And it started out normal. This is a cheap thing you can get off Amazon. I think off Amazon. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description after this video goes live for review later for anybody who wants to see. But it comes with a bunch of stuff, and I've added to it and subtracted to it and everything over the years. But what I've added to it was all the bore snakes. And this thing's great. I take this to the range every single time I go. And it's ready to go at any time I need it. And I've got all the old, these are the old bore snakes too. They've come out with much better ones now. There's 22, let's see, this should be 30 cal, I think. That's 45, what's wrong with me? 45, 35, so that's your 9mm. Let's see, 40. So the last one I checked, 30, okay. Yep, so every single bore snake that I could think of, I've got right here just for... What's funny is I bought what did I buy? Was it the 40? Yeah, I bought the 40 caliber bore snake before I ever even owned a 40 caliber. I just bought it on a whim because I knew I'd eventually own one. And I saw one on like $1 off or something cheaper than normal. And so I went in and bought it. I'm real bad about that. You know you have a problem when I've actually bought a reloading die for a rifle I didn't own yet. I didn't even have I didn't even own anything that was chambered in that rifle, in that caliber. And I bought the reloading dies for it. Okay, so let's go ahead and put a bore snake through just to see what happens. I doubt very much. But you know, it's not gonna hurt. It won't hurt anything. Okay, let's go ahead and feed that down there. Feed the weight through. Kind of a height issue. There we go. Yeah, the bunker's not really made for its high voltage ceilings. Okay, let's pull this sucker through here. We'll do a couple of pulls, and then we'll put her back together. Well, we'll take a look at it, see if anything has changed with the barrel. I doubt it, but you know what? I've got a bore snake. Won't hurt anything. You know, my uncle has a whole collection of 17 caliber rifles, and he bought a 17 caliber bore snake and almost got the thing stuck in it. Now, he asked me if I've ever heard of that actually happening. I've never heard of anyone actually getting a bore snake stuck, like actually break off inside the barrel. Have any of you guys seen that or heard of that? He was concerned because his 17 caliber bore snake was really, really tight in his rifle. He decided not to use it for his 17s. There we go. Oh yeah, the tornado brush. Isn't that the new bore snake basically? Isn't that made by the bore snake or Hoppies or whatever? Okay, now let's see what this thing looks like now. Let me try to. I'm going to show you guys again. So let me get that white patch back there, and we'll get the bore up to the camera again. Get my trusty. This is my new EDC right here. You know, the 309 TN or T10. That's my new EDC right there. That's it. Okay. She still looks crusty. She still looks pretty crusty. I'm glad I finally got that to show through on the camera. That's not an easy shot to get. Alrighty, yeah, she's pretty crusty still. Ooh, boy. I have a few other rifles that have a bore that's that bad. Not many. I don't have many that's that bad, but I've got a few. Oh, by the way, this is the last time that, or this is the first live stream I've had since Black Friday. So, do you guys go out and buy anything for Black Friday? Because I know that the FBI reported a record number of background checks on Black Friday this year. So, what did you guys get? I can't be the only one that got something. Well, the color is a bore. The bore is black. It's black as night. Oh, parts for 300 Blackout. Man, I love 300 Blackout. Especially if you have a suppressor or plan to get a suppressor, then the 300 Blackout cartridge is fantastic. And if not, if you don't want to go suppressed, it's still a good round. It's still a fun round, especially if you're planning on reloading. Then it's a cheap round to load for, too. Yeah, that compass rifle, the 300 Win Mag. Now, I have learned since I made those videos that without some modifications, the trigger is pretty much set at the lowest setting from the factory. So I think on that video I said it could go down to 3 pounds, which was advertised when I bought it. But then they reneged on that and said no, it's at its lightest setting already from the factory. So its factory is about 5 pounds or so, between 5 and 6 pounds from the factory as far as trigger pull goes. But it's still a good trigger. It's still crisp. It's just heavy. But yeah, if that's cool with you though, that compass rifle is a great firearm. There we go. Now we're going to start putting this sucker back together. Oh, new hammer. A new hammer. What kind of hammer do you get? Well, and what for? A framing hammer, or? So I've gone through several hammers in my day as well. I don't do that anymore, though. I used to. Now I sit in front of a computer, and I don't think, although, man, I would love to use a hammer on my computer. I've had some issues lately with my computers. MC Hammer. Oh, that's good, Adam. That's good. Matthew, I have not fixed that 300 upper yet. It is, if you want to see the pile of debris, there's a 300 upper, along with various other issues. But I'm working on it. I have a fix for it. I will be doing another video, an actual standalone video, not a live stream on that. But that will be fixed. It's very fixable. I've just not done it yet because I've been too sick to really worry about it too much. But the fix is on the way. It's going to happen. It will happen soon. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and let me go ahead and attach the bottom first here, the floor plate and all that good stuff. And then I can attach all the handguard stuff to it too. Oh, you bought a Polymer 80. Did you get the first generation or the second generation? Because remember, I got the first generation that had where you had to mill out the rear rails, and now the second generation has the rails that are steel that go in there in the back, which I think is a much better design. I think they only offer the second generation now. Okay, let's see. I think the long bolt was in the back, I believe. Second, good job. That's what I was going to recommend if you hadn't bought it already. Get that started. Okay, that's started. Get this second screw started here. There we go. Alrighty, and if you want to know what I got on Black Friday to match this Remington rifle, I also got a Remington. This was my Black Friday purchase. Get my junk out of the way here. And I got the worst rifle, or the worst firearm made recently, which is the R51. It was so bad it was recalled, and supposedly they fixed it. Supposedly they fixed it. We will find out. I bought it basically because it was dirt cheap, for one thing, because no one will buy them. Although they did sell out. Rural King did sell out of these, so I was lucky to get one. But we will find out if this thing is actually worth its money now, even though it only cost 180 bucks. We will see. So be looking for that video in the next month or so. So I do plan to put a couple hundred rounds through it at least before I say yay or nay on it. So that was my purchase. My screwdriver. Why was it recalled? Because it sucked. It was awful. It had it failed to feed. It failed to fire. It wasn't dangerous. That's one thing about it. It was, to my knowledge, it was never a dangerous firearm, but it would jam pretty much constantly. And what's bad is they sent a bunch of highly tuned versions to reviewers first. And the reviewers were saying, wrote rave reviews on that pistol. This is the greatest thing ever. Sliced bread had nothing on this new pistol from Remington. And then the production Remingtons hit the floor, and they were awful. So obviously they sent out some highly tuned version to the reviewers, and then sent the junk to the people. So they actually recalled them all, and gave the owners two options. You could either wait for them to fix it, and they would get the first dibs on the new ones, plus some extra, I think they sent some extra magazines or something with that. Or you could just go to the store and pick up a 1911 from Remington, which the 1911s from Remington are fantastic. I think that's the better deal. I think everyone got a better deal that way if they didn't pay full price. Because those things went for I think they still have an MSRP of $400. They are not worth $400. Not in the least bit. But are they worth $200? We'll find out. If it doesn't shoot at all, then no, it's not worth $1. But if it fires at all, if it fires pretty, reasonably well, then it's probably worth at least. Oh, I forgot to put my magazine in there. Crap. See, guys, that's what happens. You get me talking about buying firearms, and then I can't. Of course, I started the conversation, but of course, I just get sidetracked and have to backtrack. Okay. It all goes back to my not reading the instructions, I guess. Oh, the $100 bill high points. Have you heard about the new high point? The high point is I didn't clean that. That's good enough. The new 10mm high point coming out. High point carbine, 10mm. I'm very intrigued. I kind of want one. I've already got the 9mm, and it's a fantastic little shooter. So I will definitely be looking at that. I don't know if I'll buy one or not until after they've settled the price, because they're going to be asking for a premium price at the very beginning of the run. And it's never a good idea to buy the first run of anything. There's always issues on the first couple of, the first year or two of something completely new. There's always an issue. Never buy the first run of that model of car either. It's always something I've always said. Yes, Adam, 10mm is best millimeter. And although it gets a lot of hate, especially on Reddit, I don't know why Reddit hates it so much, but I've always liked the 40 caliber. The 40 Smith & Wesson is a fun cartridge to shoot. I don't care what the armchair experts say on Reddit. 40 caliber is fun. Get that aligned. There we go. I actually used 40 caliber Smith & Wesson as my first competition pistol back when I was doing USPSA all the time, which I still do on occasion. I just don't have the time to really really practice or do anything serious anymore like I used to. That was before the YouTube channel took off, or well, before I even started the YouTube channel. Every weekend I would be out there competing, and yeah, I used a Smith & Wesson 40 caliber, and it was great. You get the high capacity, but you could also high capacity of almost a 9mm, but you had the higher energy round, so you qualify for heavy or for the hardcore. Gosh, what was that called? But you qualify for the 40 or 45 versus a 9mm, which was the minimum power level. There we go. Thank you. I've realized that power factor. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, the power factor. Yeah, the 40 caliber was the best power factor advantage you could have. Okay, let's sort of just put together this upper handguard now. And this just snaps on back here. Not a big deal. There we go, and this goes. That goes right there. So first of all, I guess I can go ahead and sneak this back on back here. And I'm glad that thing came off as easily as it did. So I was kind of nervous about that. I wasn't sure how that was going to come off. And now, I don't think that's there's no orientation on that, so it doesn't really matter how that goes on there. It just slides over. I've got that funky protruding pin there. I don't know if that's factory or not, but it's there. And now, if I recall correctly, okay, that goes on the other side. Okay, the long end of this went on the bolt side, so I believe it was like that. If I recall from an hour and a half ago about, or two, gosh, it's been 2 hours? Have I been streaming for 2 hours now? Wow. Guys, I just get carried away with my firearms. I just can't help myself. Yeah. That's true. That's true, Jay. It's a fantastic looking firearm. If you don't want the bore to, if you don't look at the bore, it's pretty. It's a fantastic looking thing. Okay, that's on there good. Now let's move her back. There we go. You guys can see that really well. Now this was also oriented this way. I think, yeah, the threads are on the other side, so that is correct. I'll get a better fitting screwdriver to really, need a thinner screwdriver. Let's see if that'll do it. Yeah, Grace USA screwdrivers. Man, these are fantastic. Oh, perfect fit. Perfect fit. They're not quite hollow ground, but they are so close. They're so sturdy. Okay, now we got one more bolt for this nose cap here. Then we'll reassemble the bolt. Oh wait, no, the thread's on this side, so I guess, oh, it does go down here. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. It's even got a square shank on it, so if you want to put a wrench on it, let's see, do I have an adjustable wrench down here? I do not. But if you wanted to put, if you had a correct size wrench on it, you could put a wrench on that, on those flats there, and just force down and then turn with a wrench to really torque in or torque off a bolt or a screw. There we go. All right, she's back together. Now, let's see if I can get this bolt together. Get my junk out of the way. Just have plenty of room to breathe. got that reasonably clean. This needs another once over, but it's clean enough. Okay, let's see. Go ahead and put the firing pin and spring them in there. There's plenty of fire pin protrusion. I don't know if that's correct or not. That goes way out there. That may be an issue. That may be solved by actually installing it correctly, too. Oh wait, I need to put that on there first, don't I? That's right. Again, this is the first time I've ever had this thing apart. Let's see. No, yeah, that's right. So that goes on there, and this holds the spring down. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. There we go. All right, captured spring. I'm going to go ahead and lube that up just a bit. Some ballistol. Now, if you got a free-floating firing pin, it's best usually to leave those dry, but this is obviously not a free-floating firing pin. And that should just screw right in there. Now, there's an easier way to do this. You guys let me know, because this is not... It's not the easiest thing to do. Ugh. There we go. Got to get over that lip there, which is a little bit easier this way than getting it off. I think I got one. Ah, there we go. If I screw that, yeah, I think that's it. Now let's see what. Now when it gets fired, here we go. That's proper firing pin protrusion there, I believe. Get my patented pointer. Here we go. Perfect. All right, good deal. Now we got to put the extractor on there. That's the part. If you're not familiar with what the extractor does, because some of you may be new to firearms. The extractor holds on to the rim of the case, which it may be protruding like this Nagant round, or let's see, I've got a 308 around here somewhere. Well, here's a 30 or not 30-06. Here's a 300 blackout round right here, and it'll grab onto that rim back there and pull it out of the actual chamber. But I don't have a 30-06 down here, of course, because I'm working on a 30-06 caliber round or rifle. Now this just slides on, which is cool. Let me go ahead and put a little ballistol on that too. Too much ballistol never hurt anybody. And it just slides on, which is cool, which is much easier than most. And you've got to get this lip. There's a little lip over there that usually rides in that little groove. So you pull it back, push down on the back here, you pull that back and put that over and we're golden. All right. Now, let's get everything out of the way here. Yeah, Overly American. I've used frog lube before a couple of times, not enough to really know any big difference. I was given a bunch of it at a gun show one time, actually it was one of the NRA, the big NRA convention they had in Nashville a couple of years ago. I was there and I was given a whole bunch by the frog lube company, and I used it. I didn't notice anything too spectacular about it. It was good. It was very good stuff, and it was good for places that would normally use grease or something a little heavier that you want to use a heavier lube on. It worked really well, but I don't have a need for it. But it's definitely good. Okay. Now this has the follower actually stops the bolt. That's your fail-safe to tell you you're out of ammo, is when a follower pops up and it stops your bolt from being closed again. So during an actual wartime event, you'll know you got to reload. Which, now this is what's interesting, is that this holds 6 rounds, not 5 rounds. So you'd have a stripper clip of 5 rounds of 30-06. And then did you have a bunch of loose ammo in your pocket when if you were a GI in World War One? I have no idea. But to go ahead and close this, you got to push down the follower, and she closes home. Oh, I've got safety on. There we go. I thought I'd done something wrong. Okay. No, it's still not. Oh, what'd I do? Oh, wait, I didn't. Oh, where'd I screw up? What did I screw up? Oh, did I put something on it backwards? Let's see. Oh, wait, I've got the bolt. The bolt's not cocked. Or it is cocked. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. And now I've got the safety on. So now, okay. There we go. We're going to dry fire it. And you'll see, here's the back of the spring that holds the whole firing pin back. So we'll pull and boom. Open the action. And of course it will stop the cycling. Press the follower down, push forward. It cocks on closing, so it's still loose right now. There's no tension on the firing spring at all. And then you put firing tension on the firing pin spring. And then, you know, the trigger's not bad either. It's got some creep and then it stops. It's not that heavy. It's minus the creep. It's about 5 pounds like the Compass Center rifles are. Or, yeah, the Thompson Center Compass rifles are. Very good. All right, so we have completely cleaned this thing. And we know for a fact that the bore stinks. But it's clean. It's serviceable. There's no crack in the receiver. We are good to fire this. So we'll take this to the range at some point in the future. And I will, of course, have the video going. And we'll go ahead and give this, get this sucker heated up. And yeah, I did have the cocking piece uncocked. So I got that taken care of. Alrighty, guys, I think this is going to call it for the night. I hope you guys had a great day. Yeah, CLP, that is the... There we go, I got some stuff. I got several types of CLP. We're going to call it a night here. I hope you guys had a great time. Remember, if you missed anything on this video, it will be uploaded here shortly, so you'll be able to see it. And I think it only records the first 2 hours, so there'll be a couple minutes cut off at the very beginning. But this is an M1917 rifle. I'll put some more information in the description below the video. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, leave that in the comment box below the video when this video goes live. And of course, you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys.